Level 1, the heir. You are 14 years old. The first time you hear the words family office, your father says them at dinner between bites of something expensive. He is explaining to your mother why the new accountant will not work out. You do not understand what he is talking about. You understand that the house you live in has 11 rooms and that your friends' houses do not. Your monthly allowance is $200. It arrives in your account on the first of every month without explanation. You spend it on things you will not remember in 3 years. You do not know that this allowance is generated by a distribution from a trust your grandfather established in 1984. You do not know that the trust holds $47 million in diversified assets managed by people whose names you have never heard. You do not know any of this because nobody has told you, and you have not thought to ask. The family office exists somewhere in the background of your life like weather. It pays for the school. It pays for the summer programs. It pays for the ski trips and the tutors and the orthodontist. You sign nothing, decide nothing, understand nothing. You are a beneficiary in the purest sense of the word, which is to say, you receive without effort and without awareness. Your older cousin turned 25 last year and now attends something called the family council meeting. You asked your father what that meant. He said, you would learn when you were ready. You did not press further, you were not ready. At 16, you were given a debit card linked to a custodial account. The monthly limit is $1,500. You spend $1,100 in the first week on sneakers and a watch you saw online. Your father receives a notification. He says nothing at dinner that night, but the following month, the limit drops to $800. No one explains why. The lesson is delivered through subtraction. That is how your family communicates about money, through silence punctuated by adjustment. You are the inheritor. You inherit not just wealth, but a system you cannot see. The system will reveal itself slowly over the next 2 decades. One meeting at a time, one document at a time, one signature at a time. You do not know this yet. You are 14 and dinner is almost over and you are thinking about something else entirely. Level 2, the observer. You are 22 years old and you have graduated from a university whose name opens doors. Your degree is in economics. Your thesis was on market efficiency. You understood perhaps 40% of what you wrote. Your father invites you to your first family office meeting, not to participate, he clarifies, but to observe. The distinction matters. You sit in a chair against the wall while 6 people discuss the quarterly performance of something called the consolidated portfolio. The room is in a building downtown that your family owns but does not occupy. The family office leases the 14th floor. 12 employees work there full-time. You have met 3 of them in your entire life. The chief investment officer is a man named Harrison, who spent 18 years at Goldman Sachs before joining the family office at your grandfather's request. He earns $420,000 a year plus a performance allocation that can double that figure in a strong year. He speaks in a language you recognize as English but do not fully comprehend. Correlation matrices, duration risk, vintage year performance, J-curve dynamics. You write nothing down. Writing would suggest you belong here. You do not belong here yet. Your father sits at the head of the table. He does not speak often. When he does, the room adjusts. Not dramatically, not obsequiously, but perceptibly. His questions are short and specific. The answers are long and careful. You notice that Harrison watches your father's face while he speaks, calibrating every word. This is a performance, you realize. A very expensive, very sophisticated performance. And your father is the only audience member whose opinion matters. The portfolio is $920 million across public equities, private credit, venture capital, real estate, and something called co-investments that you later learn means direct deals alongside private equity firms. The office deploys between $40 and $60 million per year into new opportunities. The target return is 8% above inflation, net of fees. You understand these words. You do not understand what they mean inside the architecture of your family's wealth. After the meeting, your father takes you to lunch at a restaurant where the maitre d' knows his name. He asks what you thought. You say it was interesting. He nods. He does not elaborate. He orders the fish. You order the same. On the drive back, he tells you one thing. He says the family office is not about making money. It is about not losing the money that has already been made. You think about this for several weeks. You do not fully understand it until you are 34 years old and watching a cousin's trust implode because of a concentrated position in a single company that went to zero. For the next 3 years, you attend quarterly meetings as an observer. You sit in the same chair. You ask no questions. You learn to read the room, which means you spend 3 months reviewing leases, tenant credit profiles, capital expenditure schedules, and debt covenants. The head of real estate is a woman named Margaret who has been with the family office for 19 years. She treats you exactly as she would treat any junior analyst, which is to say, she corrects your mistakes without apology and assigns you work without accommodation. You appreciate this more than you expected. By month 6, you are presenting your own recommendations to the investment committee. Small decisions first, whether to renew a property management contract, whether to approve a tenant improvement allowance. The dollar amounts are in the hundreds of thousands, not the millions, but the process is identical. Memo, analysis, recommendation, discussion, vote. You learn that the process is the product, the discipline of documentation, the rigor of committee review, the formal separation of analysis from decision-making. This is what distinguishes a family office from a family checking account. Your cousin Marcus works in the office now, too. He covers the venture portfolio. You both report to Harrison, but you both know the real reporting line runs through your fathers and ultimately through your grandmother, who is 81 years old and still signs every check over $5 million personally. The hierarchy is explicit and implicit simultaneously. The org chart says one thing, the family tree says another. You are learning to read both. You make your first real mistake in month 14. You recommend against a deal that Harrison supports, a $40 million co-investment in a healthcare buyout. Your analysis is correct, but your tone is wrong. You present the recommendation as though you have equal standing to question Harrison's judgment. You do not. Your father takes you aside after the meeting. He does not raise his voice. He asks a single question. He asks whether you understand the difference between having an opinion and having earned the right to express it. You do not sleep well that night. The deal closes without the family's participation. 18 months later, it exits at a 3.4 times multiple. Harrison does not mention this. Neither do you. Some lessons are delivered through silence. Level 4, the principal, before you learn to read the reports. Level 3, the trainee. You are 26 years old. You have spent 4 years at a private equity firm doing the work that the family office evaluates from the other side of the table. You have built models until 3 in the morning. You have sat in management presentations pretending to understand industries you learned about 48 hours earlier. You have done the job. Now your father asks if you want to learn the family's work. The transition is quiet. No announcement, no title change visible to the outside world. You move from New York to the city where the family office is headquartered. Your salary drops by 60%. Your equity in the family's future increases by a factor you cannot calculate and will not understand for another decade. Your first assignment is the real estate portfolio. $230 million in commercial properties across 7 markets. Your job is to learn the asset class from the inside, but the concentrated wealth of people who share your last name and your holidays and your grandmother's dining table every Thanksgiving. Every loss is personal. Every gain is legacy. Harrison retires at 62. He has been discussing succession for 3 years. The family hires an executive search firm that charges $370,000 to conduct a process that everyone knows will end with an internal promotion. The new CIO is a woman named Diana, who joined the office from a university endowment. She is 44 years old and manages the consolidated portfolio with the precision you aspire to understand. You report to her now. She reports to the family council. Your grandmother passes away 8 months after Harrison's retirement. The funeral is attended by 400 people, including 2 senators and the chairman of a company your grandfather once saved from bankruptcy. The will divides her personal assets among 17 beneficiaries. The family office continues without interruption. That is the point. The architecture is designed to outlast any individual, including the individual who built it. You inherit your grandmother's seat on the family council. You are the youngest member by 11 years. You speak rarely at first, then more often as the quarters pass. You begin to understand that the council is not an investment committee. It is a governance body. It decides who decides. It sets the rules that constrain the decision makers. This is power of a different order. Not the power to deploy capital, but the power to define the boundaries within which capital can be deployed. Level 5, the steward. You are 41 years old. Your title is Co-Chief Investment Officer. Diana remains CIO, but the prefix signals something the organization understands without explanation. You are being positioned for succession. And succession in a family, you are 33 years old. Your title is Director of Investments, though titles in a family office mean less than they mean elsewhere. What matters is that you now have discretion over a sleeve of the portfolio, $85 million allocated to growth equity and late-stage venture. You can deploy up to $4 million per investment without committee approval. You can say yes. That is the threshold that matters. Not the title on your business card, but the ability to say yes without asking permission. Your first solo investment is a $12 million position in a software company doing $90 million in recurring revenue. The company is growing 47% year over year. The valuation is 19 times revenue. You spend 6 weeks on diligence. You interview the CEO 3 times, the CFO twice, 4 customers, and 2 former employees. You build a model with 11 scenarios. You stress test every assumption. You present to the committee and they approve unanimously. The company is acquired 14 months later at a 34% premium to your entry. Your father says nothing. Your grandmother sends you a handwritten note. It says, "Good work, do it again." The pressure is different at this level. It is not external. No one is evaluating your hours or your output. The pressure is architectural, built into the structure of what you are managing. This is your family's money, not an institutional fund with diversified limited partners. Family office means something specific. It means you are being tested not just on investment judgment, but on family judgment. Can you navigate the competing interests of 14 cousins, 3 uncles, 2 aunts, and a generation of beneficiaries who've never worked a day in the office, but have opinions about everything it does? That is the test. The portfolio has grown to $1.4 billion. The family has added a philanthropy sleeve, $200 million managed separately with its own staff and its own mandate. Your sister runs the foundation. Your cousin Marcus left the office 3 years ago to start his own venture fund, seeded with $40 million from the family and independent capital he raised himself. The office is an investor in his fund. The relationship is both familial and institutional, cordial and contractual. You approve your first fund commitment over $50 million, a $75 million anchor position in a new private credit strategy. The decision requires a supermajority vote of the family council. You present the investment thesis yourself, standing at the head of the same table where you once sat against the wall as an observer. Your father is in the room. He votes in favor without comment. The family convenes a governance review every 5 years. You lead the review this cycle. The process takes 9 months. You interview every family member over the age of 21. You document their concerns, their aspirations, their complaints about distributions, their questions about transparency. You synthesize this into a 60-page report that proposes 12 changes to the family constitution, including a revised distribution policy, a new conflict of interest protocol, and an updated succession framework for the investment committee. The council adopts 9 of the 12 recommendations. The 3 that fail are resubmitted with modifications. 2 more pass. 1 is tabled permanently. You learn that governance is harder than investment management. A bad investment loses money. Bad governance loses family. You've seen 3 families in your network tear themselves apart over disputes that began with portfolio disagreements and ended with litigation, estrangement, and forced liquidations. You are determined this will not happen to your family. The architecture must hold. Your father steps down from the council at 70. His seat passes to your younger brother, who has spent his career in academia and has no interest in investment decisions, but strong opinions about the foundation's grant-making priorities. You learn to manage this too. Family offices do not have the luxury of selecting their stakeholders. The stakeholders are given. The relationships must be built. Level 6, the architect. You are 52 years old. Diana retired last year. The title of Chief Investment Officer is yours alone now, but the title has become almost irrelevant. You no longer think in terms of positions or returns. You think in terms of generations. The portfolio stands at $2.1 billion. It has grown at 6.3% annualized over the 30 years since you first sat in that chair against the wall and listened to Harrison speak in a language you did not understand. You understand the language now. You speak it, you teach it. Your children are 24 and 21. Your daughter works at an investment bank in London. She has not decided whether she wants to join the family office. You have not asked. The decision must be hers. You remember what it was like to be observed, to be evaluated, to have your belonging questioned before it was earned. You will not impose that on her. You will only make the path available. Your son is finishing his undergraduate degree in environmental science. He has expressed interest in the foundation but not the investment side. This is acceptable. The family office is not a single role. It is an ecosystem. There must be room for different kinds of contribution, different kinds of participation, different kinds of inheritance. You spend much of your time now on structure, trusts, holding companies, succession documents, governance protocols. You work with attorneys in 3 jurisdictions. You coordinate with a team of tax advisors who bill $900 an hour and are worth every dollar. You are building the architecture that will outlast you, the system that will hold the family together after you are gone. The questions have changed. You no longer ask whether an investment will generate returns. You ask whether the decision-making process that approved the investment will still function in 20 years when everyone currently in the room is either retired or dead. You ask whether the governance framework can survive the transition from the 3rd generation to the 4th. You ask whether the family constitution is strong enough to contain the inevitable conflicts that accumulate when wealth compounds across decades. You have seen what happens when the architecture fails. You have seen families sell everything and scatter, their offices dissolved, their legacies reduced to a line item on a liquidation statement. You have seen cousins sue each other over disagreements that began with a vacation property and ended with depositions. You will not allow this. The architecture must hold. The machine does not need you to remain at the center. It needs you to build something that can survive your absence. Somewhere right now, a 14-year-old is sitting at a dinner table in a house with too many rooms. Her father is explaining something she does not understand. Words like trust, and allocation, and fiduciary. She is thinking about something else. Her phone is in her pocket. Her allowance arrived this morning without explanation. She does not know that a team of professionals manages the money that pays for everything in her life. She does not know that her name appears on documents she has never seen, that her future is being shaped by decisions made in conference rooms she will not enter for another decade. She will learn. They always do. The quarterly meeting is next week. The portfolio will be reviewed. The recommendations will be debated. The decisions will be documented. And somewhere in the room, against the wall, a chair will be empty, waiting for the next observer to sit down and begin the process of understanding what it means to be responsible for wealth you did not create. The office does not stop. It just finds new architects.